Hi, I'm Jax,
I'm Britt.
and this is Nerderino, where we talk about fun, nerdy topics and also drink our favorite beverage, tea.
So if that sounds like fun to you, go ahead and like and subscribe so you can catch our next episodes.
Today, we are talking about The Witcher.
The Witcher, what burning questions we have after finishing season 1, and what we hope next season covers.
Yeah. So, we got a huge reaction to our last Witcher video that we put out recently. So, if you haven't seen that, it's a reaction to me watching the first episode of The Witcher for the very first time, and I will link it in the card.
It's a good one.
It is.
So yeah, since then, Jackie's seen the whole season. I've seen the whole season. And yeah, we have a lot of thoughts.
A lot of things to say. So, I feel like post-watching the rest of the show, I can clearly say that I really, really like this series and I am addicted. And I am willing to watch anything that has Geralt in it. So...
I told you he was hot.
Yeah, no. I mean, I didn't think you were wrong. But I had to see, and I feel like his character built into that a little bit too. Like,
he's so charming.
I like his character too, even though he's just like, Rrr. Like, he's somehow very charming also.
Manages to be the kindest person on the show, even though he's like a grumbly
bear.
Yeah. But yeah, so one thing that I tried really hard not to spoil when you were watching the first episode was, even as early as the first episode, they drop a lot of things that you don't notice until a second watch through. Which episode were you in, or what scene did you first notice that they were doing time skips?
Oh God, I think it was when Geralt went to the party in Sintra, which is like your only real obvious clue.
It's like, they died. I watched her fall out a window.
I was really confused. Like, he showed up there and I'm all ready to see the wrecked Sintra, and I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so basically I noticed when they told you.
I don't know how much sooner I noticed, but I noticed when yes, you were saying something about visiting Sintra, going to Sintra, or
I think that's the same episode.
It might have been earlier in that episode.
Yeah.
It might not have been the dinner party, but it was, they were talking about going to Sintra, and I was like, should somebody tell them?
Yeah, I mean, so I was there I wonder what's in Sintra, because they burned it down.
And they brought up going to Sintra so casually.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I definitely, it didn't click for me that maybe there's time skips happening, but I was like, that's kind of odd. But then they were at Sintra and everyone was still alive and it wasn't burned, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if you picked up on it, but the first episode, none of that happened at the same time. Everything Geralt happened way before all the Ciri stuff. Yeah.
So it actually really threw me off. So I had figured out that they were doing flashbacks and stuff in the show, but I didn't realize, it really confused me. I actually had to text Addison because I was watching it on my day off and he was at work. And I was like, oh, this is a good time for me to sit and finish watching this show. So I had to text him because I was super confused, because it was Geralt's timeline and Ciri's timeline. And I know they meet up eventually, but the timelines, not even just Geralt and Ciri. The timelines do meet up. But I was super confused. So I realized that episode was a flashback, but then going forward I didn't realize that they were still on separate timelines that whole time. I thought what was happening with Ciri then, after that, was the same time that Geralt was currently in.
Oh,
so I was really confused.
So when Geralt shows up to get the Child of Surprise to protect her, you probably had no idea what was going on.
No, I thought that moment was a flashback. I didn't realize that his whole timeline for like a lot of the show is still behind where we are with Ciri. That's what I didn't realize, and it took a long time for me to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I was super confused, and I was like, wait a minute, like, are they on 2 different timelines? And then, like, Addison being Addison, like, didn't really answer my question. Like, he was like, no, they're the same timeline, but, like, different versions. Or I forget what he said, but it was something weird, and I was like, wait, but so it's 2 different storylines, right? And at the time, Yennefer hadn't met up with Geralt either, so then I was like, so it's Yennefer on, like, another 3rd timeline? Like,
oh, so you weren't even that far. You were, okay.
I was, like, super confused, because I did realize that Sindra dinner scene was a flashback, but I didn't realize that was Geralt's whole storyline was on that time, until eventually the times catch up with each other. So that was super confusing. Once I figured it out, I was like, okay, I'm getting it now. And Addison said something weird about, like, older Geralt and younger Geralt, and I was like, but they all look the same to me. Like, when he said it like that, I thought it was supposed to be, like, distinguishing.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't, so I was so confused. But once I got that, then it was better. Then I was like, okay, I'm following this a little bit better now. But it took me a bit to figure that out.
Yeah. And they dropped a lot of hints in the first episode. One of the times when Ciri's playing Knucklebones,
yes,
she looks up, and you just think it's an awkward scene. You're like, I'm
weird.
Not sure what's going on. But no, it was when Geralt was
standing there.
Yeah.
So when we did our last episode, when I watched the first episode, I don't know if it made our cut or not. I don't think it did.
No, because...
But you did react to that. And I was like, that's odd. So
yeah.
then when we come back to it, when we see it from Geralt's perspective, then I was like, oh, okay.
It was really funny because, like, Jackie's the one that edits our videos at the end. So, of course, not knowing, because I didn't tell her anything about the flashbacks, probably me reacting to random things was like, okay, that's weird. Don't know what that's about, but we're going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to tell her because she hadn't watched the show yet. So that, and then the other time that was a really good moment for the flashback is when Ciri's fleeing the castle with that one blonde guard. Laszlo, I believe his name was.
Laszlo.
And so there's a moment when she's, like, demanding answers right outside of the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all hear something that isn't audible in the first episode, but they both hear something and look over their shoulder behind, and then they keep going. But then in the final few episodes, or even the last episode, it's Geralt yelling Ciri.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. It was that quick. It was that... Yeah.
Oh.
It was really cool.
I didn't even notice that one. I'm sad I missed it.
But yeah, so that's initial reactions to the first season. What burning questions do we have?
I am super curious to know where, I mean, this is an obvious one. Like, I'm super curious to know, like, where the Ciri and Geralt relationship goes. And I don't know if that's my not having played the games or read the books, that, like, I'm super curious about that, but like, now they finally met up. Like, this is what we were building to the whole time, and then they just, like, hug and it ends, and I was like, now what? Like,
yeah, season 1 was getting them together. Season 2 is Geralt dodging who's Yennefer.
Right. Yes. And that threw me off because, like, that's literally the only thing she says in that whole scene, and I was like, how do you know that? So I'm super curious about that whole thing.
Me, like, now having read the books and just barely playing a couple hours in Witcher 3, which I'm going to remedy that soon, but not having the background knowledge, I'm just going off of what I've seen. And the one burning question I have is about Jaskier. Where is this boy now? Where is he? Has he made friends that are nice to him? And is Geralt ever going to see him again?
I really hope so.
He better.
He was so angry in that moment. I hope it does.
It was terrible because Yennefer yelled at him because he just got done. This was during the dragon episode, the dragon hunt episode near the end. He had spent all of this time chastising her, about wanting to have a child, and then once they get to a point where she hasn't really accepted that he's right, that they don't have a life for kids, whatever, so it's good that they can't have them, but then he lets slip that, yeah, kids aren't important, that's why this whole child is surprise thing is annoying. And she goes, what? Excuse me, sir? And then she, like, rips him a new one and leaves, and he's real upset.
But I didn't think that's why she left. Didn't she find out that his wish was something along the lines of having her?
You're right,
and then
that was
she
the
was
second
like, it's
part.
all fake.
Then
she
yeah.
stormed off and left.
That's true. That was the big thing. So she was upset about the kid thing, but that might have been okay. It might have been their regular bickering. But you're right. It was when he wouldn't admit what he wished from the Jinn for his last wish, and she built her own bridges and like connected,
which we still don't know what the actual wish was.
Yeah,
I would like to know what the actual wish was. Like, was it really all fake, or was it, you know, because like he didn't really know her when he made that wish. He was just trying to save her. So,
and that doesn't seem like a Geralt wish to like wish for them. Wish like
right?
How would he even phrase that?
Yeah.
It's not Geralt to just wish for.
He was
love.
obviously very drawn to her, but still. Like, I would like to know what his actual wish was. What was the wording of that wish? Is she justified in her anger at him?
That's true. Yeah. And on Yennefer, I kind of want to know what comes next for her. Because after the Sodden Hill battle, like that epic thing where she just becomes chaos, burns everything. Like, what happens next? Where is she? What is she doing?
I loved that. And I am curious to see, like, how they feel about the whole situation of, like, dark magic and all that nonsense, because fire magic is considered dark magic. So, like, she just, like, becomes chaos and lets loose and, like, burns all of that freaking land. She saves her, like, teacher, mentor. What's her name? I forget. I don't remember. But, yeah, she saves her, so she, like, clearly has this, like, intense control of this fire, so it's not, like, pure, like, insane chaos. Like, it's very controlled magic, and I was thoroughly impressed by that. So I'm excited to see, like, what that means for even just her magic.
Oh, yeah, because she essentially has no limits so far.
Yeah.
The fact that she could, way back in the beginning, accidentally portal herself there, and just because she was upset, and now she could just accidentally unleash all of this controlled, incredibly powerful magic. What else can she do? Does she even have a limit?
Yeah, the control to me really, really stuck out, because like she didn't just obliterate everything. So that to me is so intriguing.
Yeah, another Dara series elf companion that she had for a while on the road. You know, he did run off in the middle and come back and save her, but near the end, especially when she was dealing with the Doppler, he dips, and it's kind of a really sad moment. And it's just too bad because elves have a really bad time, and he just wanted a friend. And so I wonder if we'll see him. I don't think we will. Maybe he'll show up at a pivotal moment again, just like when he saved you the first time.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
The elves were interesting to me. I feel like in most fantasy series, like, elves are, like, highly regarded, and, like, everyone likes the elves, and you go to the elves for wisdom and, you know, old magic, and, like, that's kind of how fantasy-type genre stuff goes. And in this series, like, everyone hates the elves. They're, like, looked down on race and this kind of stuff. So that was interesting to me, the whole, like, elf dynamic in this show.
That they're associated with, like, death and the rebellion.
Yeah, kind of a random thought, but triggered it when you were talking about Dara. But that was super interesting to me in this show. Different than most things. And I like those, like, weird little twists that are not like every other show in its genre, you know? So that was cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see if there's any rogue Sintra survivors, even though the Nilfgaardians did a really good thorough job.
I feel like there's, I mean, every kind of show that has a bit of drama in it will always have like, oh, I'm the only survivor type thing. So I'm sure maybe there'll be something like that, but who knows? Because they burned that place.
Yeah, and when her grandmother is like, you're the lion cub of Sintra, you'll rule one day, I'm kind of like, what is she gonna rule?
Yeah.
Like, will the people
Like,
want
are they gonna
her?
rebuild? Or that, yeah, like what's gonna happen with that whole situation even?
Yeah, especially considering that Nilfgaard is growing real big, real fast.
Yeah.
Becoming a real problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see where that whole thing goes too. There's like so much I feel like I want to see. I was like really bummed when it ended. I was like, this is it? This is all I get to watch? Brittany got me hooked on this show and now it's just over? So, but season 2 has been announced, which is very exciting, so I'm looking forward to it.
I've even heard rumors that a season 3 has been almost officially confirmed.
Oh, wow.
So, like, they're riding this train.
That'll be great.
And I hope they do.
I'm really into it, and I super want to play the games. We did get a comment, though, in our last Witcher video, saying that the games ruined a lot of plots in the books, so that if the show is going to be following the books relatively closely, that maybe I don't want to play the games yet.
Yeah. Because you'll learn stuff real quick.
I know, so far I've liked this like element of surprise with The Witcher, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and I don't know, I've kind of liked it.
Yeah. I really like that it went back and forth between the main plot and like Monster of the Week kind of flair. Yeah, I'm a sucker for Monster of the Week. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my focus wasn't so much on that. I mean, obviously, like, there were monsters, because that's what Geralt does, but like, my focus was all on this, like, character development and, like, learning who Ciri was and learning who Geralt is and Yennefer and, like, looking for all that character development and how all these storylines line up and all that kind of... Maybe that was, like, my sheer confusion with the time skipping that was happening. But I was just, like, I was really attached to the characters. And, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. I want to know, unless they said it and I missed it, I want to know how Ciri's parents died. Because they kind of hinted at that they died really tragically.
I don't remember them mentioning it.
It was like a super, like, quick aside. I don't even know who said it. But essentially, they died when she was young.
Yeah. I don't think they mentioned it in the show.
Yeah.
If they did and we both missed it, let us know down in the comments.
So yeah, if you love the Witcher series and can't wait for season 2, go ahead and give this a like and follow us to see what other videos we make. And also let us know what burning questions you have.
Yeah, or if you have predictions for season 2, what do you think is going to happen? Let us know. Let's chat about it down in the comments. And we will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.